got the call, and normally I don't answer calls from numbers I don't recognize.
The clown in me said, no, did they dial the wrong number?
I think my brain and heart all stopped.
And I was very excited, like a little bit too excited.
She asked me if I was sitting down. I remember that pretty much clearly. I was like, I am sitting down. Why do you need to know if I'm sitting down?
Are you about to tell me? Okay, just what are you gonna say?
First I was like, is this real? Am I dreaming? And then once Esther kept talking, I was like, okay, this is real, I'm alive.
I'm like, well, if you don't win, they don't call you.
I was not expecting to win.
I just thought it was a long shot.
It felt like this overwhelming kind of like, yes, I finally landed something. You know?
I was like trying not to scream into the phone, like, yes.
I mean, even now I can't even talk about it. It's so crazy that this is real.
After it settled in a little bit, I was so honored and grateful.
It was very humbling.
Really gratifying.
I've been at this for such a long time.
It gave me the confidence that what I'm doing means something and it's valued.
I think it means so much to me because it's outside of any of the commercial world. It's outside of the market. It makes me feel recognized as a cultural worker.
I know it's only the beginning, but you know, this is pretty big for an artist coming from a place where I come from.
It's going to change everything. My work is about the broadest human experience. Yes, it can be narrowed into my culture and my sexuality and all that kind of stuff, but I'm still a human, and that means that I can and should be able to play everything. I have to want the role, and I want the role because there's something in it that I feel compelled to say. And if I can find some place where that character and I know internally, viscerally, the same experience, then I try to take that mutual knowledge and bleed that out into everything.
Proof of what you say. Say no more. All doubt shall be removed, and all that I've been saying shall be proved.
We see life all day, every day. So we're very sophisticated at seeing what is true. So what you have to do as the actor is to create such fine and such detailed truth that they out there are buying it. You are helping them successfully suspend disbelief and get as engaged in what's happening up there with you as hopefully you are. It's a terrific feeling once you've done it, once you're off stage and you're like, what just happened?
Vogue has been a really important source of femme power, black femme power, queer femme power since I was a young person. It's more than just something that's flashy and fun. I think it's actually a real source of deep strength in a world where we're denied so much love. Voguing gives us that love and that affirmation, and it creates an opportunity for us to give it to each other. I became interested in trying to harness the dance form not just as a source of physical movement, but really as a way of teaching our history of resistance and reinvesting in our history of resistance as queer and trans people of color.
Drop your right hand down and pull it through that space in between.
I love to teach Vogue because I love to remind myself and I love to remind young people in my community of how powerful we are and how much knowledge we have and how much history we carry, and to remind us that it's our duty to not just see those things in ourselves, but to see them in each other and to carry that history forward. I think making the commitment for us to create those spaces to teach each other and to share with each other and to build with each other is about maintaining our struggles of resistance and maintaining our struggles against all of the systems that are the reason our community created Vogue in the first place.
I never really performed before I started dancing. I played wheelchair basketball for over 20 years. I raced and stuff. When I started dancing, it re-motivated me to try and get stronger, more fit, because I figured, the stronger I am, the more things I could try to do, and the easier I could make things appear, which is what it seems like dance is all about. Is I do really hard stuff and make it look like it's easy. There's always more than one way of looking at things. I know it's like an opportunity to express myself. This is a wheelchair, but the wheelchair is nothing but a tool and a device. A large percentage of people without disabilities make inaccurate assumptions about people with disabilities in terms of the quality of their life, their ability to create, their ability to be forceful, their ability to be strong, be healthy. I feel like if I can be an example of a person with a disability who's mobile, strong, graceful, and can be creative, that is a message in and of itself.
I think that dancers are the most honest of storytellers. It's such nonverbal communication. You have to really physicalize emotions. You can't hide. You can't hide in dance. You're exposed. So you have to be really honest, when you're on stage. I remember being a dancer and just kind of being talked at. The times that I was asked to be a part of it, it was so much more satisfying to me that I was involved. I find it really helpful to be open to collaboration with the bodies that are in the room and the creatures that are in front of me. I also see dancers as kind of co-conspirators to what I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to convey in the room. I go in with a really clear concept, but I'm pretty malleable. There's many textures and flavors to it, and I think as an artist, that's really your job to, get into all of that like sinewy stuff and thread everything together. It's the fun part.
I'm an actor, but I also write. I've written, one-woman show. I've written short films. I'm working on a play and web series. Just a little bit of everything, really. But where there's a story to tell, I wanna be part of telling it.
Have you ever thought of,
I felt as though there weren't a lot of opportunities for people who looked like me or who shared my identities, being Muslim and Pakistani and queer. And I wanted to tell those stories. I didn't want to wait for someone else to cast me. I didn't want to wait for someone else to tell my story, and I didn't want to wait for them to get it wrong. And so I like to say that I write out of necessity.
Well, what? Well, what is it? Well, we had a baby. Yes. Oh, it must be a girl. Look at those lashes. Or a boy. It is so unfair how those boys always get the best lashes. Or a girl. Or a boy. Or a girl. What is this?
It's important to share old stories, but create new ones. Because the only way we can survive is to create our own narrative. I can take the stories of my ancestors, of my mother, of my father, of my family, but the only way I can feel confident in being who I am is to then take them and make my own narrative. Coming from a country and a family and a culture where you're not supposed to share your own stories because it's shameful. But I guess I've gotten to the point where I'm a good person, and if they say other things about me, then I can't control that, but I'm gonna keep talking.
There's kind of two threads or two voices that come from the same heart, but that all deal with issues around voice, around identity, around equality and inequality, and the ability to speak and to be heard. I think issues of power are located in both. Even if it's language that's being used as the material, art has the potential to say something that we can't say, and helps us come towards these difficult conversations and enter into them and leave some of our baggage at the door. I think about it as like sort of immersive installations that the viewer steps into and is asked to participate in a certain way. They are confronted with these issues, but they're seduced by the aesthetics of the objects or the situation. What my goal is with all of my work is to design new situations for people to listen. So listening has really become the main part of my practice.
I got excited by visual art through graffiti art, just this youthful, creative energy that deals with seeing the city environment as a playground. These projects are things that have just come out of my larger art career. Pretty much all of them have been teen or grammar school student-involved projects. I've always tried to figure out how to approach them as collaboratively as possible to kind of continue the energy of what I grew up doing with my friends as little graffiti artists, skateboarders. I like to think of my public work as being an effort to give a kind of indiscriminate visual hug to the public. I get even more fulfillment by doing it with other people, you know, having this kind of common goal to create something of beauty in the public. I need to do these projects with young people. They're a vitamin to me.
My Lakota name is Oyate Trecha Omani, which means walks with young people, and that was given to me by my elders. I kind of like to say I'm in the business of healing. Music is one of those healing tools that can cross, you know, all these borders and all these blocks we have between us as human beings.
If you a red man, you a dead man. Better off on the res, what they said, man. You a mascot, just a ghost now, just a thing that I wear up on my clothes now.
If I can make someone feel what I feel, even though this person may never go to a reservation, they may never know what it's like to be a Native American or come up out of genocide, but if I can make them feel the way I feel, it creates pathways of empathy. Then they can understand me and see my humanity. Hip-hop resonates with a lot of Native American youth from my generation. A lot of us are coming from communities that are similar to the communities that hip-hop was born in. If you look at hip-hop, it's, you know, some of the foundational elements are drums and storytelling, and that's what our traditional music is. Power in the drums, the power in the voice. It helped me find my power and it empowered me. It got me to where I am today.
Many times I feel more comfortable characterizing myself as a maker than an artist because so much of my work involves the hand. It's not perfect. You can see the hand in the work. So you feel the presence of someone that has made it as opposed to it being manufactured. The presence of humanity or my humanity, I guess, is really important. I don't really think about it as I'm making it. It just kind of comes out or presents itself. When I look back on the things that I've made that I think are the most significant to me, they have to do with African American or African women's stories and that part of history that is underneath a lot of storytelling, many times has been romanticized or hasn't been told. So I feel like I represent that voice, and that's important to my work, to give voice to women through the past, and my work kind of starts in the past, goes to the present, and also goes to the future. I'm not just presenting history, but I'm kind of recontextualizing it to be relevant to the present.
I'm a classically trained musician throughout my whole life, but I feel like the genre is a little bit too limited. I need a little bit more flexibility to have creative freedom. For me, being a bridge of cultural diversity is very important. I feel like that's the essence of being a musician. That's what you do. I often showcase erhu as my heritage, but I constantly put myself outside of my comfort zone. There's African, there's Brazilian, salsa dancing. I play flamenco with Las Guitarras de España. Of course, there's jazz and blues, Chicago deep blues. I will play blues, and you see Asian girls playing blues that's like... I think music is the very immediate response when you can see from people's faces. It's very exhilarating to be able to see that when you're performing and then you see all the segregating boundaries dissipate, like race, language, culture, religion. It's just a beautiful, beautiful thing for me.
The thing that I know about Chicago artists is we are the hardest working artists out there. We know, like, you have to hustle all the time because there's not like someone's just gonna hand you something here.
Not until I came here did I realize I could be the artist that I always wanted to be.
To be recognized with those other artists for whom I have such incredible respect.
It means a lot because I've spent my whole career here.
There is this really great family sense.
I join a family in Chicago.
I feel like you're all my family now.
Receiving this award here in the city of Chicago, I can honor those who are here and have been doing the work way longer than I have.
This is the real deal. Like, we value you, we're supporting you, and we want you to keep doing what you're doing.
If there's no organizations that say that there's artists here to look at, then artists aren't going to see themselves
It
here.
just kind of blows the roof off of this box that people have been putting me in my entire life.
You want it to be thriving and diverse and interesting and cutting edge. So it's important you got to put your money where your mouth is.